briefly explain what Women 2.0 does to serve women entrepreneurs?
Sure. So we've developed over the years, and as of now, we are a pre-incubator, essentially. And what we do is we bring together people with ideas who are looking to start a company together. So it's both men and women, and it's a 5-week pre-incubator workshop that we do to validate ideas and build co-founding teams.
Great.
So we're essentially what we call a social venture for future founders.
Great, fantastic. It's great to know you're here, and I know I followed you even from Europe. How many female startups are funded through your Women 2.0 connection?
So we do a couple of things. So one thing we do is the pre-incubator, which is our core offering.
Yeah.
And every year for 4 years, we've held an annual global startup competition called Pitch. And every year we've seen about 100+ startups that are in beta stage, so further along, not the ones that we're helping in the incubator, but ones that have developed on their own with at least one female founder. And we could do a better job of tracking, but I mean, an anecdote would be about 10% we've seen not necessarily get funding in the Valley, but anywhere around through friends and family or wherever they're from.
Right.
More than 80% of the people in the competition are from the Valley, but the rest come from all over the world. So other parts of the US, Canada, parts of Europe, the Middle East, Malaysia, Singapore. And so we've seen a lot of startups in tech, so web, mobile, and clean tech, that have at least one female founder. And from what we've tracked, and it's hard to track, we've seen about 10% of them go on to get funding. And
that's encouraging.
Yeah, so Pitch is a great exposure to investors, but 40 investors are involved every year. So it's a great opportunity to get feedback and exposure.
Fantastic. Have you noted differences with women entrepreneurs and how they pitch and build businesses?
So a lot of people ask me that question. On the whole, it's actually more or less the same.
Okay,
so in our pre-incubator, it's actually called Founder Labs. And in Founder Labs, it's half male, half female. And every week in Founder Labs, you pitch or share your learnings for the idea that you're working on. And so you get in front of the room and you share, this is what we learned by doing some customer development interviews. This is what we learned by doing some A/B tests on our website. And it's a pitching process more or less. It's more sharing information. But it's the same, right? Smart people do a good job at anything. And so there's no real difference in how they pitch or what they pitch.
Got it.
And I'd say the same for the startup competition called Pitch as well. It's more or less the same. The only differences I would make note of is the problems that women want to solve with their startups. So they tackle markets that they're familiar with, or that they have a better resonance with. So a really strong product that came out of one of our founder labs is called House of Miko, and it's essentially a matching algorithm for people who have a certain ethnicity, but they're looking for beauty products that match their needs. You and I would probably not use the same hair care products. You have curly hair, I have straight hair. I have darker complexion, I would use something different in terms of my skin, and so there's nothing out there. And so for a guy to dream that up would be a little bit more difficult, whereas the woman herself feels that pain. So
she identifies the problem because she's involved in it.
Absolutely. And it's a billion, a huge $1 billion market, multi-billion-dollar market, the beauty industry. So it's interesting that we see different problems. And so often the investors that come to our events or our founder labs, they say, this is the kind of stuff I don't always see. You provide us with a very unique deal flow.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's such great feedback too, isn't it?
Well, with 51% of women as consumers now in the world, it's about time that we started our companies that were targeted at us.
Yeah, exactly. But there's money there.
Absolutely. And at the same time, that's only one segment of our community. Some of the ideas that do come through Women 2.0 are what you would see in any other Silicon Valley incubator, essentially. A mobile SMS payment system, or a geolocation video tool, or whatever it is. So it's a good mix across the board.
Fantastic. Many say that it helps a woman entrepreneur's position, if she's technical when sourcing venture capital. Do you know any percentages on that compared to non-technical women entrepreneurs? And would you agree with that proposition?
So, absolutely. If you're starting a tech company and the founder's technical, men or women, it would be great if they had a technical background and technical expertise. So I wouldn't say it's different for men or men or women. I think it's just that any technical founder will be farther ahead and will be able to gain that credibility more quickly than a non-technical founder. However, it's not impossible. And so in our community, we see half technical, half non-technical. In fact, our incubator is built of 20 people. And of the 20 people, half of them are technical and half of them are non-technical. Half of them are male and half of them are female. It's a very unique mix. I mean, we're all about diversity.
Fantastic.
So the strengths that a non-technical person brings to the table is one thing, and the strengths a technical person brings to the table is a complement.
Yes.
So in our opinion, it's initially more exciting to see a technical founder, but in the end, when it comes to actually solving the market problem or actually executing on the startup, it doesn't matter, you know, as long as they understand the market, they're brilliant, they want to work hard, they'll launch their startup.
Cut that out. What do you see as the challenges for women entrepreneurs generally in sourcing venture capital? Because obviously you're in the heart of it, you're seeing.
So I don't think there's any explicit roadblocks or challenges. I think it's up to the woman.
Great, okay.
I think it's up to the individual, the male or the female, to
Okay.
actually get up and say, I want to start a company,
Okay.
I'm going to build a team, I'm going to validate my idea, and I'm going to go pitch it.
Great.
So it's as simple as just doing. There's stories. There's stories of women that have gone to pitch and they've met a VC and, you know, inappropriate things were said.
Yes, and there's been a few stories in the press this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's stories about any aspect of meeting a venture capitalist. For example, I could meet a VC tomorrow and he would laugh at my business model.
Yes.
As much as he would laugh at any other aspect of my life.
Yes.
I didn't go and make that news, did I? I just realized, okay, I need to change my business model.
Got it.
In relation, if you meet someone who doesn't necessarily give you the right vibe and maybe does something related to a gender bias, you just realize that's not someone you want funding from.
Exactly.
There's always sour apples everywhere.
Yeah.
But on the whole, you know, we've had great experiences with so many investors, all the way from angels up to VCs, who do nothing but support us and do nothing but support the startups that we're starting, because they don't want to fund a woman for the sake of funding a woman. They want to fund a really good idea because they need a return.
Yes.
So it's all dependent on how amazing the founders are, how amazing the ideas are, you know, and executing on it. So, you know, people get caught up in the news and they want to tell stories because it's sexy.
And drama.
And it's drama and it creates hits.
Yeah.
Well, good on them because they're great at marketing.
Sort of like that Michael Arrington post recently.
Yeah, which was, you know, everyone
it was just to stir the water, really, I think.
And how many people, you know, tweeted it out, how many people sent it around, how many comments there were.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is, you know, 3 weeks later, we had a guest post that I wrote on TechCrunch all about the amazing startups that we saw at our competition.
Yeah.
There were 10 comments on it.
Okay.
It was all positive news.
Yes.
It's not sexy news.
Got it. Yes.
So,
it's a bit similar to the work I've been doing. I don't actually want any drama. I just want the person to be honest.
Yeah, in the end, you know, drama sells.
Yeah.
And so
but it's only superficial, don't you think?
Yeah, and it's a small, you know, drop in the huge ocean of entrepreneurship that, you know,
making
one
a
person
difference.
had an experience and so they're going to blow it up and tell it 10 times over. But like I said, I could be sitting in a room with you and you could poke fun at any part of my business and that doesn't make the news.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Have you noticed any bias or lack of openness from many venture capitalists as regards women entrepreneurs?
We've been giving them some great, you know, teams coming forward. So far they open us with open arms. You know, they welcome us with open arms, and so far we've not had any issues at all.
Brilliant. That's so brilliant.
I think it's just about putting smart entrepreneurs in front of investors.
Yes.
And I mean, not just venture capitalists. I'm talking about angel investors. You know, the individual investors as well, who are looking for an alternative market right now.
Yes.
And they want to enable people, and that's what funding a founder really does. It enables change in the world through a company.
Exactly.
And if you put great ideas in front of someone who has the ability to give, they'll fund the best idea.
Very good.
Yeah.
Have you found that some successful women deny that there are challenges or obstacles for women entrepreneurs? If they've achieved success, they don't want to note that there's anything broken in the system or that there ever was a glass ceiling. And obviously, you've got a bit of a bubble because you've got investors that are open and people that you're presenting. I do ask this question because I've heard that from women CEOs and also women venture capitalists that might take this position and aren't willing to contribute to the community because of that.
That's a really tough question. Yes, I do know women who say that. In fact, I just said it. I said there's no obstacles.
Well, for Women 2.0, no.
Absolutely no, and I'm saying the same thing for any woman out there.
Okay.
I think any entrepreneur faces a closed door more than they face an open door.
Okay.
And so I think the number of times you get that closed door is higher in general for any founder, male or female.
Okay.
If you make gender an issue, then you'll get more doors closed in your face, I think.
Of course, you'll attract it, yes.
I think so, and it just becomes a perpetual cycle. I
Yeah.
think it's more important that you just push forward and realize that hearing no is part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I hear
It's
no
true.
all the time.
Yeah.
I've had other ideas that I've worked on myself. And not only did the maybe investors say no, the market said no.
Yes.
That's even worse. That's
Yeah.
like thousands of people saying no to you in your face.
Yes.
Rather than one person who says, no, I won't fund you, but 1,000 people say, your product sucks.
Yeah.
I've done that. I mean, I worked on an idea that was essentially an SMS version of Foursquare before Foursquare existed, before the iPhone existed. And we thought it was cool. We were saying, we're going to check in with SMS into, Union Square. And we told people to do that, and they're like, that's dumb.
Okay.
So
it wasn't the right time.
Absolutely wrong time,
Yeah.
absolutely the wrong medium. SMS
Yeah.
is not the way to go. But
Got it.
my point is I got a lot of no's when I was doing that.
Got it.
And so you got to know what to do with the no's.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you going to continue on and move forward, which is a great way to go? Or are you going to take that into consideration
Yes,
and maybe change what you're doing?
yes.
So, when women say, oh, I never had a problem, well, maybe it's how they synthesize the no. Maybe it's how they process the no
Got it.
to say, okay, I'm going to improve.
Got it.
I think that's more important, is if you get a no, what do you do with it?
I understand. So what would your advice be for women entrepreneurs sourcing venture capital?
Just go do it.
Okay.
Just go do it. If you really believe in the idea that you're working on, if you have an excellent team,
Yeah.
if you have some validation from the market,
Yes.
start building your prototype and go. We've seen a lot of women who are currently in any sort of startup job.
Yeah.
They, on the weekends and evenings, start building something,
Right.
validate it through the market, do
Right.
some customer development, start to build a prototype,
Right.
get a little bit of a following, quit their jobs, use a little bit of their own money, and then raise money on their own. So
Brilliant.
just go for it.
Thank you. Often advice for sourcing venture is equated with dating, implying that there's a matching that needs to happen with entrepreneur and investor, and my background is with the online dating industry. Have you noticed a general psychological profile of venture capitalists and also of entrepreneurs that promotes the attraction and synergy between them to develop a great startup?
I can't say that there's a general profile.
Okay.
I think every founder has a certain profile, whether they have certain characteristics about them
Right.
that they have and that they look for in their investor. Ideally, it's something that's a symbiotic relationship or a complementary relationship. And so ideally, if for example, there's a founder from Founder Labs,
Yes.
who's very strong business-wise, and her founder is very strong in algorithms.
Right.
But what they're missing is a product expertise.
Got it.
And I've told them, go find an investor who's done, online e-commerce products to guide you and coach you, not only to give you money, but to guide you and coach you.
Yes.
And so there's no profile particularly that you're looking for.
Yes.
But there's something that complements your business.
Got it.
And so you find people to invest in your business that also can add additional value.
Yes, that's fantastic. Generally, I hear that you would be attracted to the same sort of people, and I said, well, from the matching perspective, actually opposites often bring together a lot more wholeness.
So it could be that's what people do. It could be that you find someone you're comfortable with, right? Which is
But they're
maybe
gonna
not the best thing to
complement
do.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it may not be the best thing to do. So
Yeah.
the founder and the investor have to make that clear decision. If we're putting money into this company, what does it really look like in
Yes.
terms of the value that I add?
Very good.
At the early stage, it's not just about money. It has to be about beyond that. Because, I really believe starting a company is, how they say raising a child is best done through like a village?
Yes.
What's that saying?
Community.
Yeah, but that's what a startup is. It's a baby. And so if you're going to actually succeed, you need to pull together all the different parts that are complementary
Yes.
that you don't embody because you're one person or you're
Yes.
2 people or you're 3 people.
Yes.
You don't know everything, right? And so
Got
if you
it.
complement it with someone who has different expertise, you're more likely to succeed.
Fantastic. Thank you so